Hello. Today I'm going to show you a video that I promised to do a while ago, and I honestly meant to get to it sooner and I just didn't. And it's the soap recycling video, where I take pieces of soap, like when you use soap you end up with little slivers and bits of soap, and this way you don't have to throw them away. You can actually salvage them. Now some of these pieces are pretty big. Normally I would wait until they got a lot smaller, but I wanted to go ahead and do the video. So I have some here in a bag, and to add a little bit of extra color to it, I have this bar of, this is lavender soap. It's kind of purple, and it actually has lavender in it. So I thought it would add a nice smell and a little bit of extra color. We have blue, white, kind of brown, and pink primarily. Here's a piece that's kind of off-white, and this one's kind of green. So now this method is one that I've actually never done. Truth be told, I've never done this, period. My mom used to do this, and I used to watch her do it, and she told me once recently how to do it, and I can't remember all the steps, but I think what she did, she would take an old sock and a knife like this. I'm going to use the knife that my dad made. She would take a knife and she would cut up the soap, like she would cut up the soap into pieces and put the pieces down inside the sock, and then just take the whole sock and put it in water. Now I'm going to show you right here. If you hear racket, that's what it is. I have, ooh, I'm steaming up the camera. I have boiling water right here beside me, and it's waiting for my soap. Now I'm not going to try it with the sock. I'm going to try a different method, but keep in mind that if what I do does not work, you can always take your soap pieces, your crumbled soap, and put it down inside the toe of a sock, and just, whatever size you want. The soap that my mom made was a little bit smaller than a tennis ball, so she would get about that amount in the sock, down in the toe, and dip it down in the water just enough to kind of melt that soap a little bit, and then she would kind of squeeze it together with her hands like that to squeeze out any water, because you want to try to remove as much of that water as possible to try to kind of compact it, and then you have to wait for the soap to dry before you use it. And I will say that sometimes with the balls of soap that she made, sometimes when you got down towards the end, sometimes it would kind of come apart. So, but it's a good way to use up some of the soap when it gets down really thin and you just don't like using it anymore. It's like trying to take a shower with a contact lens. It's really not fun. So we are going to take our soap. Now, as far as the amount of water to put in your pot, I've got it over here. I'm not going to hold it under the camera again. I don't want to steam it up. As far as the amount of water to put in there, I really don't know. Honestly, I think as long as it's enough water to cover your soap, because really it's not going to be in there long. You really just want it in there long enough to melt it just a little bit, not completely dissolve it. You just want to melt it a little bit. So we have all this soap right here, and there are different sizes, obviously. This one actually kind of looks like a rock. Looks like a flint, not a flint rock, but a slate rock that somebody broke. I have no idea how this is going to work. I don't even know how to cut soap, honestly. I don't know. This is going to be loud. I may have to edit out part of this video. So I just have it on a cutting board, and this is a glass cutting board. It's not anything special, and this soap is very dry, and I don't know that it matters what size your pieces are. I don't think it matters a whole lot. Now see, I have slivers of this white soap, and here's some brown soap. That's some of my favorite soap right there. I love this stuff. It smells so good. Ooh, this soap is very easy. almost like limestone, if you're familiar with limestone. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. I'm trying to keep everything right here so I can show you everything I'm doing. When I put it in the water, actually, let me open this drawer real quick. I need something out of here. It's not going to be in the water long when I get it out. I'm just going to use this slotted spoon right here. I think this will work. I really don't know. And then I'm going to put it down in here in this strainer. And you see I have this big Tupperware bowl under it. So that way the water can run down through there and it's not going to go over, and I won't have to keep it over the sink. I can just keep it right here so I can show you everything I'm doing. And after I get all the water out of it, and this is an old disgusting muffin tin that I don't even know why I still have this. I mean, see how rusty it is. Anytime I do use this, I put the little cake, the cupcake paper things down in here so that the cupcakes never actually touch the inside, or the muffins or whatever. I'm going to put my soap in here after I get it, get some of the water out of it. I'm just going to put it in here. Now this could get pretty messy. Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I've never done this before. Not myself. I've kind of halfway watched my mother do it a few times when I was a kid, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was probably distracted doing something else, bringing lizards in the house or something. I did that a lot as a kid. I'd bring in lizards and frogs and a couple of snakes. I always made sure they were non-poisonous. I loved snakes and bugs and things, lizards, toads. Plus we raised 2 little clutches of squirrels, 3 squirrels. Dadgummit, hurt my finger. I need to quit talking. 3 families of baby squirrels. This one's hard. There we go. It's hard but brittle at the same time. Look how dry it is. It's just flake it apart. You can almost pull it apart. You see, I have a lot of dust here. I'm almost wondering what to do with that. It seems like a shame to waste it. Seems like there ought to be something I can do with it. Right now, I don't know. I don't know if I can use that dust or not. I don't really know. But I figure, with stuff like this, I figure any parts of it that you can salvage is good. It's, oh my word, okay. It's hard. But it just flakes apart. Now that looks like rose quartz right there. I'm gonna break the knife or the board or something doing this. But yeah, I think any of it that you can salvage is a good thing. I mean, otherwise it would have just been thrown in the trash, so I think any part we can save is wonderful. But like I've said before, I grew up pretty poor. I mean, we didn't have anything. So we made the most out of everything we had. We grew a lot of our own food. My mom made our clothes. I mean, I appreciate the value of $1. Okay, so we got pink, white, this sort of a aqua color, blue, a little bit brown. Gosh, that's harsh. I'm getting to the purple. I'm going to do it too. The purple, I doubt, would be as brittle as this soap. Now, this soap is old. I mean, it's been sitting around for a while. Any moisture it had in it is long gone. I don't know if that's good or bad when you do this. I really don't know. Ooh, that one's interesting. The inside is a darker color than the outside. That's cool. Huh. Don't know why that would be. See, I'm getting a lot of crumbs here. A lot of, well, like sawdust. Soap sawdust. Okay. We're getting there. Again, I really don't know how small to make these pieces. I'm just trying to remember based on how the soap my mom made looked. But I mean, you don't have to have all different kinds of soap. I just thought this, you know, all the different colors would make it a little more interesting. Some of the soap actually came from my mom's house. Ever since I started doing these videos, she's gotten used to me coming over and asking for weird things. I'm getting ready to do a kind of like a librarian video, and I went to the library a couple of weekends ago, and I asked at the front desk if they had any books for sale. And she said, yeah, down in the basement. So I went down there, and this man was down there, and he helped me. I said, you know, where do you have your books for sale? And he showed me, and he said, well, what kind of books are you interested in? And I said, I don't care. I said, I just want books with, you know, the covers, like, you know, library books have that certain kind of cover. He looked at me like, what in the world is this woman smoking? I told him I didn't care. I said, the bigger the better, actually. But yeah, they definitely have to have that certain cover. So I just look for and ask for really goofy things nowadays. So I asked my mom if she had any old soap, and she gave me some. Okay. Looks like rocks. It's like multicolored rocks. I think actually I should probably cut them smaller. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to add some more water to my pot. It's all gonna boil away. I promise I'm gonna try not to cut myself. This knife is really sharp. Try not to hurt myself too bad. But I am the queen of freak accidents, so if I do hurt myself, I will not be surprised. I'm really good at getting hurt in weird ways. It'd be funny if I cut my finger off and ended up spending $1,000 at the emergency room trying to save $3 on soap. Okay. There now. Guess I am stalling a little bit. I'm afraid to do the new bar. I don't know how well it's gonna cut. Oh, it's not too bad. Just do it a little bit at a time. That's how you do any big project. It's like the old saying, you know, how do you eat a whale? One bite at a time. Little by little, you'll get there. Just keep working at it. Before you know it, you'll have achieved your goal. Just don't give up. Piece is just falling out. It smells great. It smells like lavender. I had several bars of this soap. I bought it a while back. It's from Australia, and they had it at Goodwill. They had this whole big display set up of all these different kinds of soaps, and it was new stuff. I mean, they sell it in a lot of the stores around here. Oh, it's just wonderful. They have all different kinds. And they just, some of them are just heavenly. So, it's still splintering quite a bit. See, more than I expected. I didn't think it would do it that much. But it is. It's totally splintery. This is going to make a lot of soap. What am I going to do with all this soap? Okay. But yeah, my hands are getting really a weird feeling, covered in soap residue. Probably take me 20 minutes to wash it off. All right, now for the tricky part. Okay, so we have our bits here. Okay, so we have our bits and we have our water, and it is boiling nicely. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to add some more because it is about boiled away. And I may wish before it's over that I had chosen a bigger pot. So I'm gonna let that warm up. Now that I've added extra water, I underestimated the amount of time it would take me to cut all this up. But look how pretty that is. You know what? Even if we don't end up with good soap, look at this pretty pile of stuff we made here. Yeah, that alone is pretty impressive. It's so colorful. You know, I'm happy just with that. But while we wait for the water to heat up, I'll just cut it a little bit more. I have a cat down here who is convinced that I'm fixing her something to eat. She's getting really frustrated with me. She's wondering what's taking me so long. Okay. Come on, water. And if you hear that, that's my neighbors upstairs. Apparently every night, starting around 8:30, they either bowl or they wrestle with an elephant. I haven't quite figured out yet which it is they do, but they do one or the other up there every night. And it's really entertaining. Okay, my water is slowly simmering. I don't really know the best way to transfer this to my pot, which is right here. We shall see. Okay, the water's almost boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. It's quite lovely, don't you think? It really looks like pastel rocks. So the water is boiling. And it's not going to be in there very long. Actually, I will probably I'm not going to do it all at once. I think I'm going to just do it a little bit at a time. I'm not going to try to, you know, get it all in there and get it all out. Put it in the pot. I'll try to move you over a little bit where you can maybe see. Sorry. Okay, so you see it's in the pot. Now, it's definitely softening up. It's like the weirdest soup you ever saw. I'm not really sure how long to leave it in there. I think you're just supposed to kind of get it soft, like this. Some of these pieces are kind of big, so I'm actually wondering if it's like I'm boiling Lucky Charms or something. Some of the, some of these pieces are a little bit bigger, so I'm actually wondering. Okay, now it's boiling a little bit. I guess that's what you call a rolling boil. It's sticking to my spoon. Okay. Oh, that is a funky smell. Okay, I'll get it out. You can't see anything now. I just totally fogged up the camera. I'm sorry. Well, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I am getting it out with my slotted spoon and I am putting it into the strainer. And I'll show it to you here in just a second. I'm going to get out as much of it as possible. Some of the pieces are really little. It's hard to get them all. See, the good thing about the strainer is you can just dump it in there and a lot of the water will hopefully just run off. Now, I'm going to show you what I did. Here's what I did. See, it's in there. Now I think while this is still hot, I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Like this. Now, is this going to work? Honestly, I don't know. I'm starting to think the sock would have worked better because the sock, first of all, the sock can help strain the water and it kind of surrounds the soap and, it kind of surrounds it and presses it together. Plus, I'm thinking these pieces might actually be a bit too big. You should see this pot. Oh my God, the water in it. The water in it is this weird green color and it's boiling and it just looks really weird. It's like something you'd find in a mad scientist's laboratory. Okay, let's do some more. I think this time I'm going to leave it in there a little bit longer. Oops, sorry. Try to get a good mixture of colors. Now I think I am going to leave this in there a little bit longer. That is really, really funky. It smells good but weird at the same time. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it in there a little bit longer. Because see, this concerns me. I don't know how well this is going to stick together. Honestly, I don't know how well it's going to stay together once I take it out of here. Like, maybe I can press it a little bit with my hands or something, but I just don't know how well that's going to stay together as it is. What I can do, and I think if this doesn't work, I can always take this soap out and get an old sock and try to do it the way my mom did it. Like, take this out and drop it down in the toe of the sock and stick it in the water again and let it get nice and warm and then pull it out and put it in my strainer and just kind of squeeze it, kind of try to form it and shape it and get the water out while it's still in the sock. So, I kind of feel like if this doesn't work, I can always try that. Now, it's definitely melting. I want it to get really soft. I guess maybe I should have cut the pieces a little smaller. I guess I didn't cut them small enough, but I guess it's actually kind of a learning process. This is something that's kind of new to me. So you can see the water is kind of a weird color. I mean, I guess it's not going to completely dissolve. It's starting to boil a little bit. I can see the pieces moving around because it's boiling some. Get off my spoon. There's a piece on there. Get off. I have to make sure to rinse all this stuff thoroughly, or the next time I use it to cook, it's going to taste, whatever I cook is going to taste really soapy. I think it definitely would have helped if I had cut the pieces a little bit smaller. So if you do this, you see how big some of these are. I think really that is too big. Just, you know, something to consider. I keep seeing, there it is. I kept seeing this one piece and I couldn't get it. If I had a centrifuge, I could do this better. So, they're still kind of firm. I'm surprised. I mean, I thought that the pieces would melt faster than that. But, apparently not. So again, we're going to put it down in here. And I just think that if these pieces were smaller, this would have worked better, but that's okay. Like I said, if this doesn't work, I can always just get an old sock and stuff it down in that sock and beat it with a hammer and make the pieces smaller and dunk it in some water and see what happens. Okay. I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put all of this in there at once. The last hurrah. Crumbs and all. Why not? Okay. There is just soap dust everywhere. Well, you know, on a brighter note, if you ever need to thicken up anything, put some soap powder in there. It thickens the water quite a bit. So if you're having trouble with a stew, keep that in mind. It's sticking to my spoon really bad. So there it is. Plus I think if you put smaller pieces in here, they're going to melt. They're going to get soft faster than if you have these big pieces in here like this. Lots of purple in this one. It's quite odd. Look at all that. Isn't that something? I don't know if I should dump that in there or not. Here, have some. It's like magic fairy dust here. So I think with something like this, if at first you don't succeed, you can always try again. I mean, but I think definitely now that I have tried this, I think I definitely should have gone with the sock technique. Just take an old sock and put your pieces down in the sock before you put them in the water. I think that would work better for multiple reasons. I think it would keep it more compact, plus it would help strain out some of the water. You know what? I'm thinking that dust is helping hold the soap together in clumps. Look at that. It's clumping up a bit where the other soap, the other two rounds didn't. But look at that. It's all sticking together. And I'm no professional at this. I really don't know what I'm doing. So don't look to me for expert advice. Okay, I'm going to turn the burner off. I'm going to do this again. Now see, this looks different. This soap is sticking together. Maybe by now there's enough soap kind of in the water to make this work better. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. That's my neighbors. That's not thunder or the end of the world. That is my neighbors. Sorry if you can hear that. Maybe you can't. I don't know what they do at night. They get really loud and drop heavy things on the floor. I don't really know what that's about. It's really nice when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to sleep. I love it. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to get out of there. So you see, I'm not going to touch it. It's hot. It's sticky. Now this is sticky soap. See, it's sticking to my spoon. So this is cooling off. Oops, sorry. Working in a tight space. I'm actually going to put some into here. Kind of trying to hurry before it cools off too much. Oh, these are not the most disgusting cupcakes you ever saw. Guess I'll start a new one. This one's going to be little though. Get over there. Okay, so we have it in our little cupcake cups. Now, you're supposed to let this set, I think, for at least 48 hours. That way it has time to cool off and everything kind of has time to stick together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually give this at least 24 hours and then we're going to come back and see how it looks. And we'll see how we did. And if it didn't turn out well, we will go find a sock and we will try my mom's method. Okay, so here we have it. We have basically 6 and then a little bit more here. So it's ready now to sit and dry and get all stuck together. And hopefully when I come back, we will have some useful soap. So we'll see. I'll see you in a day or so. Hello there. We're back. It's 2 days later. And I took the soap as I showed you in the first segment that I did. I took the soap and I put it in this old muffin tin or cupcake tin, whatever you want to call it. And also what I did, instead of just leaving it out, I actually put it in the refrigerator for a couple days and had to tell the kids that it's not edible, so don't try to eat it. So now it's nice and dry. I'll show you. I'm going to pull out one part. See, it's nice and stuck together. The only problem is, as soon as you get this in the water, as soon as you get this in, like if you take a shower, you get this in the warm water, this is going to fall apart. Obviously, the pieces are too big. So this won't work. So I know what I need to do. I need to make these pieces smaller and try again. So I'm going to do that. I don't know that I will include that in the video, but I will tell you what I'm going to do with this, because this is not useful. This is not something I can work with. Like, I'll show you one of the bigger ones here. You can actually see on the bottom where some of the finer pieces kind of went to the bottom and solidified. Now that's good. That's what we want. But that's what we want all of the soap to look like. We can't have it all lumpy up here at the top. I mean, you know, this is just going to crumble and fall apart, and you're going to have a bunch of pieces of soap everywhere in the shower. So I'm going to have to actually get all of it to look like that. So I was thinking, and you know, I have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of this stuff. See, we have all these pieces. And I could, I guess, get my knife back out and chop and chop and chop, or use a cheese grater or something. But actually, I think there has to be an easier way. Unfortunately, it's not a method that is really conducive to ASMR, so I'm not really going to include it. And my method is this. I'm going to put this soap in an old sock. I found some socks in my son's sock drawer that he never wears. There's some that I bought him, I think, last winter. He wanted some longer socks, so I got him some and he didn't like them, so he didn't wear them much. So I have these old socks. And what I'm going to do with all my little chunks of soap here, like each individual one that's in each little tin, I'm going to take like this, drop it down in my sock, down to the toe. And it seems to stick together well enough that I can kind of push it down in there. Okay, so now it's in the toe of the sock. So what I'm going to try, and I'll let you know how this works. I'm not going to do it in this video because it's probably going to be pretty loud. I'm going to put this on probably my big wooden cutting board, and I'm just going to bang the crap out of it with this hammer. And I'm just going to break up all those little pieces in there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the boiling water again in the pot like I had before. And I'm going to dip this down in the water and leave it there long enough to get it nice and mushy. And then pull it out and squeeze the water out, and then let it dry in the sock just like a big ball like that. I believe that's how my mom did it. But I'm thinking with the hammer, if I hit it hard enough, and you know, I can really break it up, because as you saw, it's pretty brittle. Most of the soap was pretty brittle, so I think it will break fairly easily. So that's what I'm going to do. And I am going to show you after I do that. I'm going to, and I'll do that tonight, because I'm trying to, this video is taking forever to do. After I do that, and after I boil it, I'm going to let it sit for, I don't know, maybe a day or so, for it to kind of dry. And I don't want to take it out of the sock while it's still wet, because I think it'll just be really mushy. I'm going to leave it in the sock. I have six socks, so I can do 6 of these, which works out pretty well, because I had this one, I had 6, and then I had a little bit here. But I'm just going to break this little bit. I'm just going to take this and break it up, and then just distribute it in the 6 socks with the other parts, with these other bits. And I'm gonna you know, hit them with the hammer, boil them in the water, get them nice and soft, and squeeze the water out. And probably, honestly, I'll probably just take the socks and set them back in here and just stick this back in the refrigerator, because I read that helps it dry faster. It probably does. The cold air, I would imagine it would dry it out a little faster. So I will at least leave it in there for a day or so before I try to take it out of the sock, because I'm afraid if I try to take it out while it's still wet, it's just going to be a goopy mess, a soapy, goopy mess. So I'm going to do that. And when I come back, I should have an answer as to how well that worked. And if this doesn't work, I'm calling my mom. I'm going to get my mom to help me. Let's see if we can get her to do it. But I will be back in a day or so. And of course, I'm going to put all this together in one video. So I'll be back in like 5 seconds. Okay. So here we are at the final step in this process. And I did end up using the socks because, as I showed you in the last segment, the way it looked in the sections here of the muffin tin, it was just big pieces, and they were all stuck together. But as soon as you got that wet, you just got in the shower, it would have come apart. So what I ended up doing, I took those 6 segments, and I ended up splitting them up, or just dividing them, just making 3 instead of 6 bars of soap. I'm going to end up with 3. But it's bigger. See, it would have made a really small bar of soap. This is 2 of those segments combined. And what I did, I put the pieces in here before I did anything to them, so that I put them in here whole, dropped them down into this old sock, and I started hitting it with the hammer to break up the pieces, and it worked fine, but it was kind of late at night, so I was actually worried about waking people up or bothering people. So what I did, I used the hammer a little bit, but then I went and got a pair of pliers, and I would just put it over I would feel around in here with my hand and feel a piece, and I would squeeze it and just break the clumps up with the pliers on the outside of the sock. It was actually very satisfying. I really enjoyed doing that. So, and it did take longer. I think with a hammer you could break them up a lot faster, but it was pretty noisy. So, and like I said, it was kind of late at night when I did this, so I was trying to be quiet. But after the pieces got broken up, it got really small, and it would have been a very small bar of soap. So I would just take, the contents of 2 of the muffin tins and put them into just 1 sock. So instead of having 6 socks, I have 3. And I have not looked at them. After I did that, after I broke up all the pieces inside the socks, I put the socks in the pot of boiling water again, and I let them sit in there for probably about 2 minutes, maybe not quite 2 minutes. I really just kind of left them in there until I felt like I should take them out. I didn't exactly time it, but I really just wanted to leave them in the water long enough to melt all the pieces of soap in here. So then I took them out, and I set them over the strainer. It was like a spaghetti strainer thing. It was the white plastic one I used in the other video. And just to drain some of the water out. And after it cooled off a little bit, I could kind of squeeze it with my hand, which felt really weird. It was really slimy. But then, after I got most of the water out, I set them down inside the muffin tin. I just dropped them down into 3 of the compartments in the muffin tin. And then I just took the whole thing and set it in the refrigerator for probably 2 or 3 days. I would have gotten back to it sooner, but life kind of got out of hand there for a few days, and I didn't get back to it. But after 2 or 3 days, I took it out and set it on the counter in the kitchen, and they're very dry. I would have to say, even after 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator, they still were not completely dry. Like up here at the top, it was still really wet and smushy. So I just left them on the counter, and they've dried now. They're nice and hard. I have not taken them out. I haven't looked at them, so I honestly don't know what they're going to look like when I remove them from the socks. They may be pretty, they may not. I can say that there are some crumbly pieces up here at the top above the lump of soap. There are some loose pieces in here that did not stick or become part of the soap, our new bar of soap. So there will be a few pieces. Yeah, see, like this. This one's stuck to the sock. I don't really know the best way to do this. Just gonna try to pull it out of the sock. Now I'm thinking, if I really wanted to, I could save these loose pieces here and do this process again, like take all the loose pieces out of all 3 socks and start all over with, and try to combine them. And it's really stuck to the sock. And I figure if this method doesn't work, I'm going to call my mom and ask her what I did wrong. She always had good looking bars of soap. Mine looks like a mutant. It is really sticking to the sock. The socks are useless, and they really did a number on that sock. That's okay. So here's the first one, and it looks like these pieces up here are still kind of big. It looks like I missed some big pieces. See, the bottom looks different. The bottom is the pieces are much smaller, and so I don't know how well that will hold together. If I had to do it again, I would break these up and try the process again, just to try to make these smaller. So I think one thing I've learned is that you want your pieces of soap to be as small as possible, because you can see these, it's like little soap crumbs, and they're all stuck together. And the top is just kind of bumpy. So there's one. I'm going to take this next one out. And I'm just folding the sock over on itself. Yeah, the one bad thing about the sock is that the soap really sticks to it. I'm just pulling it away from the soap, kinda, trying to. It's really stuck to the soap. It's like cemented to the soap. Okay, you can kind of see it here. And so far it looks like these pieces are smaller. It looks like I did a little bit better job on this one. It was really late at night when I did this. I was so sleepy. But I wanted to go ahead and get it done so it could start to dry, because I was pretty sure it was going to take a while to dry out. See, I'm really having to pull on this sock. It's like the fibers of the sock have just become enmeshed with the soap. Yeah, I guess you could try to salvage these socks, but honestly, I don't think I would bother. Okay, there we go. There. This one actually looks a little better. This one is a little bit more uniform, although we do have some bigger pieces like that. But we don't have as many as we do with this one. See? You can see the difference. The bottoms kind of look the same, but I did a much better job on this one breaking up the pieces. So, lesson from Mary. Break up your soap. Don't leave a bunch of big chunks. And here's the third and final sock. And again, we have these little pieces. Not many. I was afraid there would be more. It's actually not as bad as I expected. So I'll fold it back and pull it back. And okay, we have some big pieces here, you can see right there. Some big white pieces. And again, it's really sticking to the soap. Not terribly bad, though. Ah, that came off easier. So here is the third one. This one actually still feels a little wet, a little, like it's not completely dry. But you can see that it's all kind of, except for this here, it's kind of sticking together, you know. So, these are my 3 recycled soap sliver bars of soap. This one I'm a little worried about. I think this is going to come apart in just end up clogging the shower drain. These two look pretty good. So, if you want to try this at home, just make sure to break up your soap in smaller pieces. You know, I mean, even these are too big. Like this one, like all these pink ones here. I would definitely make them smaller. Like this one's about 1 inch long. I would say I wouldn't have any pieces bigger than 1/4 of an inch, honestly. And the smaller they are, the better they're going to stick together. You can see the tiny parts are definitely all together. So the bigger the pieces, the less likely they are to combine and stay together. So these are my 3 bars of soap. Rescued and recycled from soap slivers, except for the purple part, which I cut up just to add a little bit more color. But thank you very much for watching. I think this would have worked great if the pieces were smaller. So I do appreciate you watching, and I'm sorry this had to be done in so many segments, but in the end I ended up with some pretty soap, so I think it was worth it. Thank you again, and I hope to see you soon.